people. I've been busing to work lately, and this is the first time I've been caught in it in quite some time, so it's actually kind of nice. Gives me lots of time to fire up the oven and bake up some sweet, delicious loaves of bread for us. Today's loaf comes to us by way of my teacher and mentor, Marcus Aurelius, who writes the following. Consider often the connection of all things in the cosmos and their relationship with each other. For in a way all things are mutually intertwined, and thus there is a natural inclination or love that links everything together. For things follow another by reason of their attunement, the common spirit that breathes through them, and the unity of all being. Throughout the meditations, Marcus Aurelius coaches himself to engage in these sorts of meditative practices, these types of thought experiments, where he tries to envision things, or he tries to picture himself as something different, and so on and so forth. This is one of those examples. He's coaching himself to frequently consider the connection of all things in the cosmos, the unity of being. This is something that's been coming up in my life a lot lately. I have a friend from church, Mark, who has been a lifelong mystic. He studied at a school in Scotland called Bishara. He lived there for months and maybe even years. I have to ask Mark about it, but basically the whole point of this school, the reason that people go there, is to achieve the experience of unity, of union with the one. And Mark and I have been talking a lot about this, the unity of all being. Sometimes I call it pantheism, right? Which is, as you know, the idea that all is God. Sometimes I just say all is one. It's the fundamental unity, the interconnection of all things. Alan Watts used to say, you are the Big Bang. We are the Big Bang. We're what the Big Bang is doing right now. A seamless continuation of it. And that's an interesting way of saying it. It gets down to the same point. Whatever language you use, the idea is that there is no separation between self and other. These are illusions. As humans, we experience a heavily doctored version of reality, or all that is, whatever you want to call it. And as we advance scientifically and learn more about our senses and the mind and the brain and our environment and the universe as a whole, we come to realize that what we see and hear and smell is really just a production, and a really inaccurate one. We perceive things that are not true, that are not real. And so, like Marcus, it's important for us to consider these things, to keep these things front of mind, so that we don't forget that this feeling that I have, that I'm this separate, self-contained, independent self, is just that, a feeling based on faulty or inaccurate data. That's what Marcus Aurelius coaches himself to do, to contemplate not only the interconnected web of being, as my fellow Unitarians sometimes refer to it, but also to contemplate how these connections are made. Because they're not just haphazard and random. As Marcus says, there is reason and logic behind these connections. Things relate to one another, are attuned to one another, attract one another. These are important things to remember because it's easy to forget that nothing exists in isolation. Nothing is truly independent. Nothing stands alone. Everything leans on something else, stands on something else. The idea is that if you contemplate these connections and you follow your thoughts where they lead you, eventually you'll find yourself at the very origin, at the dawn of time. If you could somehow see past that singularity, which occurred 13.8 billion years ago according to scientists, if you could see past that point in time where everything breaks down and scientists don't understand and don't know and can't explain what happened right before the Big Bang, you'd probably find an endless loop of these universes popping in and out of existence, and the whole time you and I are there, because there is no you and I. There's just this cosmos, on a repeat cycle. But now I'm speculating. I don't know that the universe is a recurring thing. Maybe this is a one and done sort of situation. In my heart of hearts, I don't feel that this is true. And when I look at things rationally and scientifically, I come up with the same conclusion, that there is no beginning and there is no end. These are just nouns, inventions of the human mind. But I don't know these things. I'm just guessing. Note the three ways in which things are connected. By way of attunement. So that's the way things attract similar things. There's attunement. Certain things just fit together nicely, perfectly. And that's what Marcus Aurelius means by attunement. Things are also connected by the spirit that breathes through them. The spirit of life, the animating force that keeps all of these different forms together. And last but not least, all of these things are connected through being, the unity of being. So I sent this quote to my friend Mark because it sounds just like what the Sufis are talking about. And it sounds just like what the Vedantic philosophers were talking about when they wrote the Upanishads and the Bhagavad Gita. It sounds like what all the different mystics are saying. Hey, my friend Baldeep, he's a Sikh. And he posted a video of one of these Sikh teachers talking about this very thing. The unity of all being. It's there. Every single mystic, every single esoteric tradition, at the heart of every spiritual tradition, you find this truth. Eternal, universal, recurring, over and over again. Repeated by people who never had contact with each other, who never shared their ideas with each other, yet nevertheless they arrived at the same basic idea. It's all one. The perception of duality is an illusion. There is no separation. There is only one being. And you and I are part of that. Threads woven into the fabric of the universe. There's no separating us from each other and from the rest of the cloth. Great reminder from Marcus Aurelius on this lovely sunny day. I look at the sun, I look at the cars, I look at the trees, but in my heart I experience only one. It's hard to put into words, my friends. I know some of you out there have felt it. I hope that you can find that feeling again, and I hope that you can help others in your life find it, maybe for the first time. I'm always interested to hear about your experiences, so please do not hesitate. Drop me a comment down below, and I will respond. Until next time, live well, my friends.